The past Full Sail experience videos have been at the desk, so I figured today we can do it at the couch. Yep, there's that. Let me open up my computer. Get to my beverage, which is totally Gatorade. Yep, Gatorade. Alrighty guys, so if you're watching these as they roll out, you'll know that summer break is just about over, and that sure does stink. But if you're watching these in the future and it's like 2027, it's just another video for you. Let's act like we're all watching this in the present and the right now, the 2019. It's 11:50 at night. However, might be up on the 7th or 8th. It'll be uploaded before you guys go back to school. No worries. And yes, I did say you guys. Oh, this hurts. Yeah, I have to take a month off because once again, like last July, we're moving. Straight up, just gonna get it out there right now. Super big sorries to anyone who's currently going into this class because now you're on the same schedule as I am. I can no longer give you a month in advance. However, if you're not going into this class right now, I'll still be ahead of you and you can still watch monthly experience videos before you go into the class. So that's good. But don't worry, I'm back in class August 5th, and then once the August class is over, that would be 1908. Once that class is over, then I'll do another experience video and we'll be right back on track. No worries, guys. Mo, stop being weird. That's all I ask. Is it hard? Probably for you. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about this class. What class was it? This is Project and Portfolio 4 from Full Sail University's Computer Animation Degree Program. From Full Sail University. This was my month 17. I recently looked at my transcripts and turns out I had 3 prerequisites done instead of 2. I know all those months before where I was like, I have 2 done, I say it every month and stuff like that. I had 3 done. I'm gonna start saying it every month now. So I had 3 done, so this is my month 17. This could be your month, let's figure this out. This could be your month 15 to your month 20. It all just depends on how many prerequisites you had done. I had 3 done apparently, so this is my month 17. Project and Portfolio 4. This is where my videos will start to become more degree specific, field specific. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do class information, assignments, a little bit about the teacher, some tips, and then we're gonna get out of here. I will have my month off. You guys are going back, and then I will be back at the end of August to give you my Full Sail experience and continue it on. Let's get into this with some class information. Class information, number 1. Your teacher will not always be your teacher. I had a guy named Tim, and the one grading my stuff was a guy named Darko. Just something to know. Because you're in their class doesn't mean they're going to be grading your stuff. Because there is a massive amount of teachers for the project and portfolio classes 4 through 7. The way I see it is whoever's grading your stuff now will continue to grade your stuff. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's just the way I'm kind of interpreting all of this. The teachers all have specific fields that they grade. Some of them grade modeling, some grade animation, some grade rigging, some compositing and stuff like that. I think there's like 5 or 6 different paths you can take. There are a lot of different teachers and they all grade different disciplines. Just depending on what discipline you choose, that will determine your teacher, not teacher, necessarily your grader. Because there's no teaching in a project and portfolio class, at least not this one. If there are in the future ones, I don't know that yet. What else? There are 11 assignments this month. You have your professionalism, and then, of course, you have your 4 milestones throughout the weeks. And then there are just little things throughout the weeks. Nothing big, pretty dang easy. Another thing I can tell you about this class is that the grading seems to be very heavy. Like, they're picky, or at least the guy I had. I don't know about all the other teachers. The guy that I had was picky. And here's how the grading of the weeks go. Week 1, your milestone is 10%. Week 2, 10%. Week 3, 10%. But then week 4, 35%. It's back weighted, so that's good. You can make all your mistakes in the first 3 weeks, and then it's back weighted. I can tell you when I first started this class, I was massively confused. When you get on FSO, it says for your milestone, all it gives you is a link, and then it says post a screenshot of your asset. Dude, I'm in animation. How am I gonna post a screenshot and you judge that for my milestone? So use the link that they gave you, and then the link is like choose your discipline, and then your discipline has a folder. It takes you to the areas of study page. I'm looking at it right here. You can choose animation, modeling, compositing, look development, and rigging. 5. I chose animation as my discipline. I'm almost certain, I'm very certain actually, that what you choose now will be what you have until Project and Portfolio 7, like basically until you graduate. Now, I think you can change it, but I would recommend you just stay with what you go with. Like, put time into what you want to do. Like think about it and put time into thinking what you want to do, and then just stick with that, because it's probably a big mess to switch. I'm not sure. I intend on sticking with animation. So you click on your discipline, you know, then there's a home page where it kind of gives you the brief overview of what you're doing in project and portfolio 4, 5, 6, and a little bit of 7. A contacts page where you can see the online instructors and the on-campus instructors. And then there are tabs for portfolio 4, 5, 6, and 7, and it basically describes what you're doing in all those months. Pretty easy now that I think about it, but when I first started, I was like, I don't get it. I don't get it. Please. No one's explaining anything. They just kind of throw you in and say, go. It's just not what I expected. So you know how in previous portfolio classes where you've learned stuff and then you apply what you've learned in that class. Like one, we did modeling because we had taken like 3DF and model creation and stuff like that, and that prepared us for portfolio 1. Portfolio 2, before that we had animation 1 and 2. We had to apply what we learned. Portfolio 3, it's a bit different. Choose between animation and modeling, kind of use what we've learned to apply to whatever path we chose. And this one, since we had character modeling, character rigging, and character animation all before this portfolio class, I kind of went in, like realizing now that it's a little outrageous, I went in with the mindset of, holy cow, we're gonna have a project where we model a character, rig a character, and then we animate that character. I can see now, thinking about it, that that is way far-fetched. Why would they do that all in 1 month to begin with? Why would they make you like model or rig if you want to be an animator, or vice versa in any other way? I guess since I want to be super efficient in all of the aspects, I was really hoping for like an overall class instead of pick one and do that one well, which to me kind of stinks about having to pick one and then ride that out till graduation, because I'm like, yeah, animation is what I primarily want to do, but I also want to get really good at modeling. I want to get really good at shading and texturing and all that. I want to get really good at lights. I want to get good at rigging. I want to get good at all of it. That's my goal. So unfortunately, in the portfolio classes from now on out, solely animation. I'm fairly certain that's how it works. Okay, so like we did in portfolio 3, are working on one project throughout the month and you turn in 4 milestones. So let's jump into the assignments and kind of talk about it. So your overall assignment for the month, if you chose animation, was to do an action scene. So they give you a setting, a few characters to choose from, one really nice looking character, like Disney Pixar kind of quality. I couldn't get her rig to properly work. It was all on her knees that were going out of whack and everything. So I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll switch to a different rig. So I did. Now this is where it kind of got confusing for me, because I was like, where the heck are the guidelines? All that I saw was it had to be an 8 to 10 second animation involving some sort of action. It didn't say what kind of action it had to be. It didn't say if it had to be slow or fast or jumping, non-jumping, running, walking. It didn't say any of that junk. Just an 8 to 10 second action animation. Left the door pretty wide open. So this is what I did. Week 1, you just had to do key poses. To me, this seemed to fit the key poses pretty well. It's action. It was everything that was required. However, I got an 89 on this. And this is where I'm saying that my teacher was a bit picky. I mean, he was like, you definitely have all of the poses you need here for week 1. You know, week 2, you might want to tweak this a little bit. Week 2, you might want to tweak this a little bit. Like I said, this is where I feel like they were getting a bit picky. He said, you definitely have enough poses here for week 1. But then I got an 89. And he didn't read my poses right. Like, I had a pose where he was like this, you know? Like, just kind of thinking there. And he's like, this is a bad contact pose. And I was like, dude, it's not a contact pose. He's standing there. So, I mean, like, he had a problem with that. So I feel like just in terms of grading, he was picky. Like, his advice was okay. In terms of grading, way too picky. Because when I got the 89, I was like, well, what the heck? What kind of class is this? It made me feel like the kind of work that I'd been doing before was just like, you know, sympathy grades. Oh, we'll just give him that. He's still starting out. And then I get in here and I'm getting an 89 on block out poses. And I'm like, what's going on? Okay, so then you had your discussion for week 1. That was simply find a demo reel from someone in your discipline and just kind of talk about it. I think it was like 2 paragraphs. Pretty easy assignment. So for week 1, I put in 14 hours and 50 minutes. Yours is probably gonna be somewhere around there. Week 2, and I'm just gonna like mentally prepare you guys. Throughout these weeks, I'm not gonna be able to go too in depth or anything like that because it's all just simply progress on your animation. What I can do is I can tell you my experience, what I went through and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what this is going to be. Okay, so week 2. On that, the additional link that they give you, that is where you submit your milestone for the week. And then you just kind of, I mean, you can put your other stuff on FSO2 in like a zipped folder, but you put your milestone play blast on, I believe it's called Sync Sketch, and you may have seen someone use that before in previous animation classes. And then you upload your reference video and your Maya scene to a Google Drive. Then you upload both the links to SyncSketch and your Google Drive to the submission form on the external link, and then that somehow goes to them. So it's a very complicated process in terms of submitting your assignment. So I would recommend at least 20 minutes to do that, at least your first time, because it's a process. Now on that external link to do all that junk, there's an option when you're submitting for just feedback rather than like milestone 1, 2, 3, or 4. For my milestone 2, I ended up doing about 8 hours worth of work total. So after I was 3 hours into it, it was Friday at like 3 o'clock. They leave for the weekend at like 5 or 5:30. So I was like, it's 3 o'clock, I'm gonna just take what I've got right now and get a just feedback, you know, like a mid-project critique. And my professor thought I meant, okay, I'm done. I want my grade to be based on this right here after 3 hours of work. He actually graded it and stuff like that, and I got an 88. I was like, you know what? It's not the worst thing in the world. It's an 88. However, it is feedback. So I corrected that with him, and I was like, look, that was just feedback. I didn't want an official grade. He said, okay, cool, just submit it later. I was like, okay. I mean, it was a little annoying to get that scare. I was like, oh my goodness, he thought that was an actual grade. Holy cow. I put 5 more hours worth of work into it. I fixed everything he mentioned in the critique video that he did, and when I uploaded it, he regraded it and I got an 89. He bumped it up 1%. In the critique video for the newer one, he said, yeah, I can definitely see this has improved, it's looking better. I'm like, dude, you bumped it up 1%, and like a 90 is an A minus, or like the lowest A you can get, and an 89 is a B plus. So I'm like, I've had a teacher like this in high school where no matter what, he would always take off some point without really explaining it, and I'm like, I have everything I need for week 1, you gave me an 89. I had everything I needed for week 2, everything that you even said in my just feedback, and you still gave me an 89. So it's frustrating, you know? Like, at this point, I was like, I feel like no matter what I do, I can't get a 90 or an A or anything like that. Because up to this point, all my grades have been A's or A pluses. I don't want to get like, but it really is heartbreaking when you put in this much work and you feel like you cannot progress, you cannot do better. And that's, I don't know, like, it's a combination of just nitpicky. It was the teacher's nitpickiness that made me feel like, wow, I can't do better. Like, it's not that they were pointing out things I can improve on, it's that they were counting off for things that weren't the requirements for that week. That's what I'm trying to say. So he's like, yeah, this isn't smooth or anything like that. And I'm like, dude, it's in step, it's not gonna be smooth. Or like, he said to pose my character. So in my just feedback, he said pose my character in an extreme down pose. So I did that. So when I turned it in for the actual milestone 2, I posed it in that exact same way. He said, this character is too far down. And I'm like, it's exactly the pose you drew on my feedback. So this teacher made me feel like he didn't know what he wanted, because he would say one thing in a critique or a feedback, and when I actually turn it in, he would go the opposite way. So I guess I'm kind of combining assignments and teacher right now. But yeah, milestone 2 was simply just progress, add more key poses and breakdowns, but you're still in step. And you can see in this week, I changed my jump to make it a bit more simple so that, I don't know, just a bit easier to work with, because for some reason this month I was against so many time constraints, and I was like, you know what, simplify the jump, delete all those poses, put in easier ones, and we'll be good. And I think that worked out for my benefit. And then your second assignment for week 2 is demo reel prep, and you had to watch like an hour and a half's worth of videos on lynda.com over how to use Premiere Pro, you know, the basics. And that's basically so that we can eventually make a demo reel. It's pretty easy, and then you have to upload your certificate of completion to FSO. Pretty easy, just make sure you actually watched all the videos, watch them through, and otherwise it's not gonna work. So week 2, I spent 13 hours and 3 minutes, and I still got an 89. So now week 3. Week 3 is where I finally got some haha, you know, because turn off step, you can move into auto. That's when it starts to look good, you know. When it's in step, yeah, you can see the movements, you can see patterns and how things are going to move, but it always looks better in auto once you have those key breakdowns. When you just start in auto, I mean, yeah, it's 50-50 on whether or not it's gonna look good. But when you do the steps and then you take it into auto, that's when it looks good. So week 3, you pretty much wanna push it to the point of 100% complete and perfect, because that's what you're going for. In week 3, you want it to be as perfect as you can make it. That way week 4, you can make corrections. So week 3, I pushed it as far as I could, and I got a 91. I finally broke the 90. And as soon as I got that, I was unstoppable, I must say. in my critique, he's like, yeah, this is definitely looking a lot better. And I'm like, dude, that's because it's in auto. And now you can finally see what I'm doing. Like, I guess if I were better, maybe he could have been able to see what I was doing while I'm still in step. However, it's just a difference in workflow. I like to be in step a little bit and then jump into auto. He's like, be in step as long as you can. And I get that, but I'm like, it's just a difference in workflow. We're all gonna make cool animations, right? It's what we're here for. Gatorade. So week 3, like I said, push it to perfection, and then in week 4 you're gonna make your corrections. So I got a 91 in week 3. Felt amazing. And then your second assignment in week 3 is a demo reel rough cut, and a few of you may have seen me post that actually. And I started this assignment at like 11:06 at night, due at 11:59 like most things are. I don't have time to mess around with Premiere. I watched all the videos, so I bet if I jumped in I could eventually figure it out. But I know iMovie pretty well. I mean, that's what I use to edit all my videos, and I know it's like a super basic software and stuff like that, but I was like, you know what, I have 40 minutes. I don't even have that. I've got like 25 minutes, because then you got to upload it to the 3D Arts forum, and then you've got to upload it to YouTube, and then you got to put it on the discussion, so you got to go a lot of places. So I had like 25 minutes to simply just work on it. So I was like, let's grab past assignments and just go roll with it. I did it. A few of you may have seen it. I don't like the video personally, and I've had trouble in the past when I used just the unlisted option on YouTube. So I was like, we'll make it public, and then when I get my grade, I'll make it private. So that's what I did. And my teacher still gave me 100 on it because it's a rough cut. However, he gave me some feedback. He's like, you don't want to use school projects. So while I'm taking this month off, I at least want to take the character that I did in character modeling, you know, fundamentals and stuff, and try to at least shade and texture him so that I can eventually rig him and animate him into my own stuff. So that's my plan for at least part of this month, along with moving and all this other junk. But week 3, I spent 15 hours and 16 minutes. So kind of shot back up, but I'd say it was worth it to get that 91. And oh shoot, like I said before, weeks 1 and 2, 89s, I felt like I can't do it. I can't break the 90s. And I broke 91. I broke the 90s and I got 91. And it was just an amazing feeling overall. Awesome. Week 4. Week 4 was crazy. So you've got your milestone, and then you've got 3 things to do. One was your professionalism, which I already touched upon. The second one is your, I gotta quote it, career module connection. It says if you're not taking this class, leave a feedback comment thing that says I'm not currently taking this class, and then you'll get 5% of your grade. I wasn't currently taking it, so I just left that comment, and I got 100, 5% of my grade, woohoo! And then your third thing to do before you move on to your milestone is your demo reel reflection. So you just had to write a few things about your demo reel. So what you had to do was find a career actually out there and post it and everything. Out of all the requirements that they're listing, you have to like take the requirements they're listing and take your demo reel rough cut and see where your rough cut will satisfy the skills needed from this job. So it could be like able to lip sync audio, proficient in Maya, understand timing, squashing and stretching, whatever. Like, does your demo reel show that you have these skills? That's basically it. And then you're writing like 2 paragraphs or something like that. That's what I did. Got on 100 pretty easy. Don't stress it. Now, speaking of stressing, week 4, milestone 4. I was kidding. It was really easy because it's just corrections at this point. If you took the time in week 3, push it as far as you can and make it in your eyes perfect, then all you have to worry about is corrections. So I pushed myself hard this week because we went on vacation and we were leaving Sunday night. And I was like, I don't have time to push all my homework to Sunday night. So I got on it either Monday or Tuesday. It was one of them. And I spent like 2.5 hours on my corrections. And then I did a just feedback to make sure. I'm like, hey, I need a just feedback. If you could just let me know anything that you would want fixed, because let's face it, my original idea, despite the jump change, was different than what I ended up with. And that's because my teacher was one of the teachers that's like, if it's not the way I think it should be, it's wrong. And I've had teachers like this before in the past, not necessarily at Full Sail, but past schools. And they're the kind that you just have to do what they say, get your grade, and move on. And in the workforce, you know, that's how it's going to be. You're going to have an employer who wants something their way, or they'll find someone that can do it their way. So you just got to do it their way, and you'll be set. But anyway, I did the just feedback, and I was like, anything that you think can be changed, any advice would be super helpful. I would appreciate it all so much. Thank you. Gave me my feedback, and I did it. And in total, week 4 took me 5 hours and 9 minutes. So it's crazy easy if you take the time in week 3. I can imagine if you don't take the time in week 3, not only will you probably not get a great grade in week 3, you will probably also have a lot more to do in week 4. So I got a 95 in week 4, which is the lowest A+ you can get on an assignment, but I'll take it, which made my overall grade for the month a 95.15. So I got an A+ in the class. I got 89s the first 2 weeks, so I was like, there goes all my A's. I was able to pull back, and I got it, and we're all set, and we're gonna take our month off to move, and hopefully if I have some time, take my modeled character from Character Modeling Foundations, or Fundamentals, whatever it was, and increase him to at least a good quality of a model, and then I'll rig him and animate him later. But yeah, that's pretty much the assignments, and for the most part I talked about the teacher throughout the assignments. I feel like he was a little too picky during the first 2 weeks. Weeks 3 and 4 he kind of chillaxed a little bit, which is certainly helpful. He was pretty easy to get a hold of during the week. On the weekends, you might as well forget it. But you know, they go on weekend breaks. They're not there 24/7. Teachers have lives. I get that. Yeah, that's pretty much it on him. During week 4, like when my character comes down and he has his lid, because you can move objects as long as they interact with them. You don't just move them to move them. When he has his lid come down and he brings it back for his anticipation before he throws it, from weeks 1 to 3, he was not understanding that he was going for an anticipation. But in week 4, he saw that. He's like, oh, I see you're going for an anticipation here. I finally get you. That made me so happy. It made my day. He kept docking me. He's like, it needs to flow nicely. But now he finally sees. I want him to anticipate, to like throw that shield real hard. Or not shield, lit. I based it off Captain America. He finally understood that, and it was the best thing he could have said, because he finally understood what I was trying to do. It not only means that he understood it, but it also means I animated it correctly to get my point across, and that felt good. It felt good on my part. So in total for the month, I spent 48 hours and 18 minutes. And before I do an assignment, I like to do my estimated time, and then, you know, I do it, and then that's my actual time. My estimated time, I thought I would spend a total of 57 hours during the month, but it was 48 and some change, so I estimated high for this month. Tips, all I can say is, I mean, my tips really only apply to the animation students at this point, so that stinks. In other classes that aren't portfolio classes, I'm fairly certain just it'll apply to any computer animation student, but when it comes to the portfolio classes, I'm almost certain that it will only apply to the animation students. That stinks. However, that's how it goes, but I'll still be doing some modeling stuff. Hopefully I can do a modeling video sometime this month. I kind of want to model a mouth, like the inside, the teeth and the gums and stuff for my character. In terms of tips, just get started right away. I would utilize the feedback, and this goes for whatever discipline you chose. Utilize the feedback option, but then send your teacher an email saying, hey, I just sent you a feedback thing. If you could get to that, that'd be cool. I would appreciate anything you got to say. Just stuff like that. Because the one time I didn't send a feedback email thing saying, hey, I sent you some feedback, he thought that was my actual grade or my actual submission. He thought that was my actual submission, which is not the case. Spend time to think about what discipline you want to go into. If you're like me and you want to be good at everything, pick the thing that you're good at best. Or at least you think you're good at best. That way, you know, you can be doing your stuff, but you might not realize that there's a better way of doing something. You might not realize there's an advanced way of doing something. So I would say pick the discipline you think you're good at best. I think I'm good at animation the best. I want to be good at modeling and rigging and all this. That's stuff that will come with time. Whereas animation, I can near perfect it while I'm here. And modeling, I can look up, how to use a tool or something. But animation, that's something that, it's an acting, you know, that's physics, that's how do things move. That's something I would rather learn with a teacher rather than having to look up later. I would much rather have to look up technical things like how to model something or how to rig something. But that's just my preference. If you're like a rigger, so if you think you're best at rigging, I would say choose the rigging discipline. You're gonna learn things that you never knew. Like I learned a cool little hip animation thing to make it seem more realistic. So that's just, you know, a little tip. In terms of that, I don't really have any more tips. Set aside at least 15 hours a week for homework. That's pretty much it. I spent a long time recording this, 52 minutes so far, holy cannoli. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. My question for you guys this month, well, let's just make it like a full-on question spree, okay? Question 1, what'd you guys do on summer break? I went to Massachusetts and I got to meet a family member on Bailey's side. Really interesting. He's a gladiator. Have you guys seen Spider-Man Far From Home yet? I haven't. I want to see it. Hopefully I can see it in like the next few days. Have you guys seen Toy Story 4 yet? I haven't. I want to. Hopefully I can see it in the next few days. And just overall, how you guys doing in Full Sail? We're gonna make it through this together. And once again, super sorry to anyone that was 1 month behind me because now we're on the same schedule, and that just stinks. But you can do it. I know you can. No problems. And heck, just because I don't have a video out doesn't mean I'm not going through the same thing you are. Shoot me a message. Also, while we're still talking about things, messages. Follow me on Facebook because this is my 192nd video. In every 100 videos, I like to do like a little award show thing where I don't know, it's my way of reminiscing on past videos, past art, because I like to make art, but I also like to look back on it every once in a while. So every 100 videos, I'll do like funniest video, most creative video, most pointless video, the best intro, who was the favorite guest, and stuff like that. So if you follow me on Facebook at Tetrad Art of Jacob Feazel, within the next few weeks, I'm gonna be uploading links to the past 100 videos, and then you guys can watch them at your own convenience and kind of get reacquainted with them. And then when it comes time to do all the voting and stuff, I'm gonna put special videos on Facebook only. They're not gonna be on YouTube because they will be the nomination videos, and you guys can vote, and it'll just be great. And then I will do my 200th video award show on here, and it's just gonna be fantastic. So that's something that you guys can participate in if you follow me on Facebook. So there's that. Oh, goodness. Oh, okay. You know what? I got one more question for you guys. It's just a question spree, like I said. I want to do a Sinister 6 Sona, but I have a few different ways of doing this. So, what I can do, option 1, do 1 video per member. So I would have 6 videos, and they would all be kind of like my Spider Sona and my Venom Sona, be like that. Or, I can do 1 video. It'll be a bit longer, but I can do the same amount of content and just keep it in 1 video. Or, option 3, I can do 1 video and explain less why I'm doing things. So like with my Spider Sona and my Venom Sona, I pretty much explained why I drew things and why I put them where and stuff like that. But in this one, option 3, I can kind of give you about half the reasoning of why I did that. Let me know. Option 1, 6 separate videos, full description of why I'm doing it. Option 2, 1 big video where I do all 6 and give you my full description of why I'm doing everything. Or option 3, 1 big video, but I give you maybe like half the reasoning of why I'm doing things. So let me know the answers to every single one of those questions down in the comments below. I know there was a lot, but I got a lot on my mind. So that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I think I said everything that needs to be said. So I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna go to bed, because why not? Because it is 12:45 in the morning. So I'll just edit this tomorrow. That's pretty much it for this one, guys. So if you would, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.